Hi, I'm Tracy Dimmick and welcome to my blog, Intuitively Aligned. Today I am going to answer a huge question, but in a very simple way. The question, what is intuition? Well, intuition is simply a language. And it is a language that has multiple dialects. So you can think about these dialects as the psychic abilities, the things that most people would know as or think of as psychic abilities. So intuition is the language. Underneath the language is the different dialects of the language, which are the psychic abilities. So those abilities include clairaudience, clear hearing, clairsentience, clear feeling, claircognizance, clear knowing, clairvoyance, clear seeing, clairgustance, clear taste, and clairolfactance, clear smell. Now, just like any other language, say we are going to learn Spanish. There are many different dialects of Spanish. Depending on which village you're going to, might depend on the vocabulary, the pronunciation, the little nuances, the slang. The language of intuition is spoken by the spiritual realms, not the Spanish people. So if you can think of spiritual realms have a language, that is intuition. That intuition language has many different dialects. Now, the spiritual realm includes deities like gods and goddesses, ascended masters, angels, and the people that you've loved that have passed over. But it also includes your higher self. Now, your higher self is the part of you that is connected to your soul. It's where your spirit sits. It's the part of you that knows everything about this human experience and what the path of your highest good is. So if all of those spiritual entities and deities and energies are able to use the language of intuition to speak to you, then what you need to do is learn the language, learn the dialects. Now, some of us already have naturally high intuition. Yep, that's me, in case you didn't know. But some of us might not even recognize that it is actually our intuition. So when was the last time that you just said, oh, I could feel that in my gut. Like I had a gut feeling that this was going to be a bad idea. And then it was. And so you kick yourself because you knew you should have listened to that gut feeling, but you didn't. Or maybe how many of you dream? And in that dream, you might have like a premonition dream or a precognitive dream where you see something that's about to happen or happens the next day. So you might see someone in your dream that you haven't seen for years, and the next day you see them. And you come away going, oh my gosh, I dreamt that I was going to see you. I knew I was going to see you. So the other times these things happen is like knowing that who's going to be on the end of the phone, or that today someone's going to call you or is going to have some kind of conversation with you, and you just know it. You don't know how you know it, but you just do. So in this case, all three of those examples are psychic abilities. So the gut feeling, that's your clairsentience. That is your spiritual realm using their language of intuition with the dialect of clairsentience to be able to make you feel something that they want you to feel. Then the having that dream of seeing someone and having a vision, even if it's a daydream, that's clairvoyance. So they're using the language of intuition with the dialect of clairvoyance. And then the last one, just knowing who's on the other end of the phone, or just knowing that you're going to be having a conversation with someone, for example, that's claircognizance. It's the language of claircognizance inside intuition. So as you can see, most people have got their intuition at play at some level. They maybe just don't have much credence. They don't give it as much credence. They don't give it as much faith and trust. So they struggle to make decisions based off of this wooey intuition, or they feel maybe a bit silly saying, or I just feel something's off, or I feel this is the right thing to do. Now, a little secret, I live my life intuitively. So everything that I do comes from the language first, the guidance first, and then I use my human self, my human form, intelligence, education, resources to be able to execute and interpret and play out and take action with that guidance. So how do we get to trust it more and have faith in it more? Well, just like any other language, if you were going to Spain for a holiday, it's likely that you would maybe study Spanish on an app or go to night school and learn Spanish. I don't even know how they learn languages these days. But intuition is no different. So just learning the different dialects of intuition, i.e. the psychic abilities, that's how you increase your intuition. Now, learning psychic abilities is actually not as difficult as it sounds, because we all have the ability to do this. We all have an intuition. Every single person on the planet has an intuition. Living an intuitively led life is beautiful. Living an intuitively led life is filled with grace and ease, instead of feeling like I'm pushing shit up a hill all the time, which is what it used to feel like. So there is a huge reason to want to develop your intuition language, because it brings grace and ease into your life. It helps you feel supported. It helps you realize that you're never alone, never. No matter how alone you might feel or how lonely you might feel, you're never alone. Your spiritual realms are always talking to you. They're just talking to you, not in a language that you might be very strong in or fluent in or familiar with. They're speaking to you using the language of intuition.